"Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." When people hear those words, they usually picture something like this: a quiet room, low music, a soothing verse to repeat before going to sleep. But the day Jesus actually spoke those words was anything but quiet. You have to look at John the Baptist. John was the faithful predecessor. He had spent his early ministry here at the Jordan River, pointing people toward Jesus and preparing the way for his message. But now, John is locked inside a dark, brutal first-century prison. He had spent his life speaking the truth, and it had cost him his freedom. Now he's sitting in a cell, facing the very real threat of execution. From that cell, he sends his own disciples to Jesus with a message, and it's a message heavy with profound doubt. He asks, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we look for someone else?" If the most dedicated, faithful man in the story is breaking down in a cell and questioning everything, Jesus is offering a version of rest durable enough to survive a prison. When John's disciples arrive with their question, Jesus doesn't shout at them. He doesn't shame John for losing faith. Instead, he points to the physical evidence around them. He tells them to go back and report that blind people are receiving sight, the lame are walking, and the sick are being healed. And after they leave, Jesus turns to the watching crowd and defends John. He honors a doubting, exhausted servant publicly, making it clear that John's questions haven't disqualified him. But the crowd listening to this defense presents another layer of pressure. Jesus compares the people around him to ungrateful children playing in a marketplace, impossible to satisfy. They condemned John the Baptist for living too strictly, claiming he had a demon. Then Jesus arrived, eating and drinking with everyday people, and they insulted him as a friend of sinners. They complained either way. These people weren't genuinely searching for truth. They were actively looking for any excuse to justify ignoring him, so they could stay exactly the same. Beyond the immediate crowds was the stubbornness of local towns, Chorazin, Bethsaida, and Capernaum. These communities witnessed undeniable miracles firsthand, sick neighbors healed, lives transformed, and still they completely refused to change their ways or return to God. Operating in the background of all this was an active network of religious leaders. They were taking the faith and turning it into an exhausting, impossible performance of rules, adding constant guilt and pressure to ordinary people. This is the timeline. Jesus is standing at the exact epicenter of an exhausted society. He is surrounded by a doubting prophet in prison, an unpleasable crowd, stubborn towns, and suffocating religious pressure. In the middle of this claustrophobic environment, Jesus pauses to pray. He thanks God that the truth is revealed to the humble rather than the proud, and claims total divine access, saying, "No one knows the Father except the Son." It is a massive, jarring claim to make to a crowd already looking for reasons to reject him. It's right after this claim that he finally gives the invitation. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Notice what he doesn't say. He doesn't promise to magically fix their external circumstances, and he doesn't promise to empty John's prison cell by morning. Instead, he offers rest by pointing to a specific historical metaphor. He tells the crowd, "Take my yoke upon you." A first-century yoke was a functional, heavy wooden tool used to harness animals to pull massive loads, turning their effort into productive work. Jesus redefines rest as an invitation to carry the weight of life differently. By stepping into that yoke, you carry the load alongside him. The timeline of Matthew's account proves this. Right after giving this invitation, Jesus deliberately walks into a confrontation. He goes into a synagogue on the Sabbath, a day supposed to be for rest, but tightly controlled by religious rules, and heals a man with a withered hand. He chooses to heal while the religious leaders watch and criticize. This specific action shows that his version of rest centers on mercy, healing, and valuing people over appearances. The invitation to come remains entirely open. It is for the exhausted, for the doubting, and the failing. It doesn't require you to fix every part of yourself or present a perfect faith. Just bring your honest, tired self and come close.